Welcome to a new Immortal Hours with Frater SH. My name is S. Duck.
All right, all right, all right. Okay. I used a bobby pin here on the door. Uh-oh, Mr. PECK. All right. It's the last month of the year. You're gonna sit down. Okay. All right. We're gonna have a Power Glove Congress. Cause I'm tired of the shenanigans. You idiot. Well, listen here, man. Like IG88 was doing a good job of all that. Well, yeah, but it's kind of a pain in the butt have to copy paste all that, okay, into his little mainframe there, so he can repeat all that. We're gonna do a little Power Glove Congress. This is last month of the year, and we've been doing this new show as a way to fill in content for Fridays because we had original Freighter versus Retro kind of turn on us, and they went to another network and signed a lifetime contract. They're not coming back. Yeah, they're not coming back. And of course you got me. I don't have. Yeah, I got you. Actually, you're just kind of you. Oh yeah, that's coming from you. That's really great. Oh, oh yeah. Well, it's not very easy having to work with you. It's not easy. See, generally how we do this, folks, is we usually got other people who host these shows, like the Abbott, Glenn Farfinger, or Curly Joe, or Kojak, and those are the guys that deal with all the crap. They deal with that stuff. We usually, as a heel, I just host like certain parts of the segments, and of course Bad Freighter here, he's a heel too, so he does the same thing. You're having a bunch of heels hosting a show. That's kind of nuts. Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, it's kind of like we get in each other's way. We really get in each other's way, and it's like we get agitated, but we can't fight each other because one of us will turn babyface. We can't do it. Man, that rule sucks. It dies. It dies. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk to S Duck here. I mean, how you doing?
Boys, would you stop? We have a show to do. Now, Mr.
Well, you know what? She's right. We got a show to do, Mr. Peck. I know it's just kind of hard because we're both heels and we both are vying for control effects. But yeah, she is very much right. All right, so we don't do very long segments on these shows like we used to. And well, you know what? It's just hard because, and look, something, Freighter, I'll say this, and I realize I split your personality in two, so it's not been easy for you. It's not been easy. It's kind of like something isn't there. It's just like yeah, I still fight the same. I do all this stuff. I'm bad and mean and stuff. But then there's like a part of that. It's like it's not there. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like you're split in two, and that doesn't help. Your other you is never going to be on this network. So if I finally got the courage to finally say, well, okay, I'll bring them both together. The other one basically did corporate espionage. I mean, I mean, for crying out loud, and the thing is, I know someone could say, well, why haven't you split them again? If I split this guy right here in front of me, it would be disastrous. It would be disastrous. It would just, eh, yeah. Well, probably the two new me's would be totally stupid or something. Well, yeah, because it splits your personality even worse. Uh, All I can think of is like, you know, yeah, it's true you're split from that personality, but maybe you might evolve on your own, and maybe that's good, but you might turn to a baby face. And if that happens, you're gonna have trouble. well, it's not gonna happen. I'm a bad guy, and I, I'm very impulsive, and well, that's what we want, because the Abbott and them, they don't need a new ally. They need to just be pressed all the time because it's content. Okay, so you're gonna say something too. I could kind of hear in the tip of your tongue. Wow, freighter, obviously we've changed a lot, but it's because there was a time when look, I know everyone's gonna say, "Oh, Mr. Peck has some great knowledge here." Well, it's because I'm actually really the this is just an avatar. The guy behind this is the real guy who really started all this. Um, First off, yeah, Mr. Pennypacker under this, and that was revealed in the first season of Original Freighter as a retro. And well, there was a time when gaming news was very fun. It was very, very fun. I mean, I remember back in 2010 when we did the original E3 show, where there was an E3 show we did where basically um we did an E3 show where we covered the 3DS, and we were there was some fun times. Where Xbox, yeah, they were going through their like kitty phase, and full motion control phase, and that was stupid. But at the same time, you had games like Dark, the Souls games starting to come out. You're starting to have eventually Skyrim, and I mean, there was still some good out there, and Nintendo was still like pretty much Nintendo. Of course, until they made the Wii U, and then the Wii U was a complete flop, and because everyone thought it was an accessory to the Wii. But yeah, yeah, we used to do game news. It was actually fun. The problem about today, folks, is I'm going to flat out say in Saturn Ground, we just played the PC. We have an Alienware PC, brand new one we bought last, a little bit, back, and it does good for us. And probably when it's time, we'll buy another one. And I know some could say, well, what about the new PlayStations and the new Xboxes? What do you mean, the cloud gaming and all that? They don't even have they're not going to have physical media. I thought we talked about Nintendo games. Later. Yeah, we are talking about Nintendo. I'm talking about the one I grew up with. Freighter, you doing that character shit. You just said shit. Freighter, you don't understand. It's IG88. Yeah, and his voice is back to free mode, Freighter. I'm sorry to say, Freighter, that although that is kind of a content filler. If you need to hit, we don't really know what to do. We could just have him spout off some like NES history with the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. That I don't know. Maybe you're right. Yeah, aren't you not seeing it? Like, okay. Yeah, we can't always uh, be super clever every week, since we're not doing storylines because my colleague here won't do them. Exactly. Dude, the original show, look, man, I know because I'm the one that produced it. Okay. The original show didn't have, the original show was just literally, we would play a video game, and then, well, actually, we played the video game first. And then afterwards, then we would do the Power Glove Congress thing with the goofy characters, and that was fun stuff, neat stuff. And because the real reality is I actually liked the gaming situation at the time. It was there's a lot of retro enthusiasts, and they'll be like, I refuse to play new games. No, I'm locked off at a certain time. Of course, that's kind of how we are with comic books. We're if it is after about say the oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's the Saturn ground burp. Yeah, it's I don't like those other guys taking that over to Metro Tracker. God, that upsets me. But yeah. So IG88, what are you gonna say? Well, I was going to say that pretty much, you know, what was I going to say? Actually, actually, I was in back in the day too. That's right. IG88 was back there too, Mr. Peck. Do you remember? Well, of course I remember. See, he didn't have a sound chip though, so he couldn't talk. But that didn't mean that there wasn't something there. He was watching the whole time. I remember when I was covered in poop in New Flavor versus Retro. That was really gross. That was actually very gross, and we had a real little giggle fit on that one. Yeah, we did have a giggle fit. So, so like back in the old days, like I guess this is like a retro show about the original freight. I know we've gone for too many title changes. We should probably just stick to Freighter versus Retro and just stuck it. But the problem is we do new games also. I can see you're starting to get mad. It's like, listen, buddy, that's why we have other shows because then it doesn't, contaminate, a retro show. Unfortunately, especially with New Freighter, we were sort of like not caring about the title anymore. It was kind of weird because we were called New Freighter versus Retro, and because of Red Green, we were fans of Red Green, so we were like, let's call it the New Freighter versus Retro, and so that was it. Hell, yeah, that was something. Yeah, and really, really back then, like I said, what is? Let's talk about it. What is there to talk about now? Well, see, the problem is I'm gonna be honest with you. New games, you want to know the truth, people? The new games, like I know my colleague here, he's got sort of mental issues. Freighter does, and he just plays old NES games. Before I split him, he wasn't like that. He would love those games, but at the same time, he played new games too. And the reality is you know where the new games come from? It literally comes from one guy in his basement, which is actually a throwback to like the very early days of Atari. I used to hear histories of like people would literally make video game companies in their basement. And that is hardcore. That is Kino. And I know the people can say, "Oh, Atari, it looks so bad." And it's like, guys, it had to look like that before it looked like this. If I had a picture of like, Starfield or No Man's Sky or Skyrim or whatever, it had to go look like this before it looked like that. It's like it's an evolution. Actually, the world was made in 6,000 years. Well, that could be true. Yeah, it was Bishop Usher. Freighter, your character isn't supposed to be spiritual because you're bad. That's the other Freighter. Oh, oops. Ah, you gotta keep to your character, okay? I know. We're a very unique channel because we're a Christian channel. At the same time, we're kind of like a Saturday Night Live channel too. That's kind of a weird mishmash, you know. Oh, I'll be flat to tell you, yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. What would happen today if we tried to do gaming news? Well, number one, it was leaked that Xbox and PlayStation, their next consoles are not going to have physical media. Okay, so well, what happens in the case of like Ubisoft when they decide, well, we're going to delete a game from everyone's library? It happened. It was a game called The Crew. Well, that's not good. That's why NES cartridges are better. NES cartridges, Frater. Oh my goodness, were a pain in the ass. You're being. You know why you're thinking this way, you dummy? Is because you play with ROMs on this channel. Everyone can see you're not playing with real hardware. You're playing with ROMs. Well, yeah, it's easy. It is easy. That's crazy easy. It's so easy because you don't have to deal with the things we had to deal with, like contacts. We had to make sure those things were clean of dirt and dust, and you had to make sure that it was lined up properly. And a lot of times, you know what? You think that the NES came with a manual. Oh, by the way, about the contacts, there was nothing. It wasn't that great. I mean, the graphics were better in an Atari 7200 or something. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like we had a choice. I mean, yeah, you could get a Master System, but you saw the Master System didn't last very long, and then you could get a Sega Genesis, and yeah, you could go that route. And if you waited a few years, you can get a Super Nintendo, and yeah, you could say heck with it, skip the Nintendo all the time. But back in the late 80s, that was the thing. They looked like arcade games at home. Joe? Yeah, well, of course I know. The namesake of this channel. I know it's the namesake. But I'm just saying that the new consoles are literally just like hubs. They're like, they really, really and true of what they want. And you can see with Game Pass. Game Pass is the real reality. And what it is you could like the way Game Pass works is you could take like a Roku TV or even your computer or whatever or a tablet that doesn't even have that much power, and you can have Game Pass, and you could be playing Fallout 4, and you could be playing pretty high end games, any kind of game, because it's streaming from a cloud. It's streaming from a server over somewhere in was it Redwood or wherever the Xbox place is? Yeah, yeah, it's over that. Yeah, yeah. And you kind of took control over my show. I really call that out. That's kind of true. I was going to say that myself that Mr. Peck kind of took over the show. Wow, it's because you idiot robot. It's because I'm Mr. Pennypacker. You know, that's true. We like that you're like Mr. Peck. Yes, because Mr. Peck, before he went to Metrotractica, was pretty much a namesake of the Saturn Rod brand. And then of course well, Mr. Peck went to them, and then of course I had the bad Mr. Peck in the back somewhere, and I could easily put that mask on, and I can do that thing like it did. That was really terrible what you did back then. That was pretty good manipulation. That was some really bad guy stuff. I had you kind of going, and but you weren't doing what I wanted. I kind of hold that against you in a way. Are we gonna play a game or something? Because you keep rattling on about all this new game stuff. There isn't like you are right. Okay, I'll say it. You're right. That really the new games coming out are in people's basements. They are in people's basements. They're not the AAA games. Right? Or you guys buy like an $80 game? Well, I play any. All right. Yeah, he plays NES games. This version of Freder just plays NES games. So thus he's only playing ROMs. And are you playing Nintendo Switch or? Well, no. What? I'm not subscribing each month to something just to have access to NES games. Like, what am I? Is this a rental or something? I know technically it is a rental. It's just a lot of games compared to when we were kids. Why the show's gone a lot longer than it usually does. Like, well, that's what happens when you practically take a month off and you're just practically filling the episodes. Okay. All right. Well, this duck hasn't said much. Well, it's because our ADHD's kicking. We don't really feel like filling in the TTS voices today. She got her little kinda kick in there. Yeah, well, she's been cooking all day, so oh, more of that macaroni and cheese, wow. Um, yeah, yeah, she was doing stuff with Spam and stuff. Spam! Oh, boy, well, I'm good. I'm good on eating, okay? Well, okay, just don't break her heart, you know? Afraid her on me heel. Yeah, but I have a lightsaber. That's true, and that hurts. Okay, well, we'll get on with playing Final Fantasy. Here we go, and we're back to playing Final Fantasy. I know it's been a little while since I recorded one of these. Kind of got kind of lazy with the commentary last month, and well, actually last 2 months, just doing one general commentary over this, and I'm afraid to say this month I may very well do this again, because well, there's just not a lot to talk about. It's you know, it's turn-based combat. You taking on these sea hags and stuff, or whatever enemies. Trying to work your way up in the world, get better weapons, better armor, and get those levels up so that you have more health points, so you can take more damage and dish out more damage. And probably this month, even though it's the end of the, end of the year, and probably we'll do it again because I don't know. Can't really think of too much, as far as like, commentary. I mean, it gets, look, man, we're not getting any kind of copyright from the old NES music so far, So, as long as we're not getting flagged or anything like that, that we have to go through the system and remove it, I'll let you know. YouTube has become quite nice about that. If we get a copyright, you can actually choose to have it trimmed, and I don't really care. I know, but all of a sudden you'll be talking, you just, so it's last Wednesday. It was last Wednesday. That's when that happened. Yes, there was a big bottom and it's like yeah, but well, that was actually Friday, and I actually yeah, that's true. Because, there was a project we had where there was a lot of cutting. There was a lot of cutting. Because there was a lot of freaking copyrighted music. And it was funny, too, because YouTube was even like, they were like, like, it was funny because they wouldn't tell you all the copyrighted content in one go. Like, it would just, like, give you, like, 2 or 3 things. And then, all of a sudden, like, 3 weeks later, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's a copyright notice here. But you're, like, going, well, wait a minute, I trimmed that. I swear I trimmed that. And it's like, no, you didn't. No. The thing hadn't really, like, completed all of the searches. Probably it's because it's got to do a whole site-wide search. It's probably got to go through some, like, database and each sound of your video, right, to see what can trigger, That's probably how it works, which I can assume that's a very slow system. Yeah, so, but with these Final Fantasy 1, we've had no issue, and the sound is great. I actually am going to be honest with you, do you really need this commentary with this? I mean, it's got great sound, you can kind of relax to it, it's kind of ASMR in a way. I mean, old NES games have a real charm for sounds, and, I like ASMR, and I know some people are like, oh no, you mean the girls that lick the plastic ears? And there was a time before that wasn't like that. Yeah, you always had some boobie girl. Would show the boobies, and she would be like making like kissy sounds and stuff. And it was to get, men are crazy. They'll really go crazy with endorsing their favorite women, because it's hard to find a girlfriend. So these guys, they don't have their own personal estimates, stuff like that. And by the way, on the street, I know you're gonna go SS Duck. Is she like, does she support the German Chancellor of World War II? No, it's because you're only allowed 4 letters. So we could have actually put down S and then D-U-K, or D-U-C, or S Duck. But, hey, sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes you got lemons, and sometimes you end up with lemonade. Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of times when we work on you can always tell a fresh recording session because, like, my brain is like just active, it's firing off. The commentary section of this episode was like 20 minutes. It was like actually really good. A good long show. And it's just because our creativity was fired up. But also it's because we're at the end of this project for the year. So we just need to put this stuff together and then upload it. And that's one more project done. That's one more project done. That's pretty good. Then, of course, we go on to another project. Who knows, maybe in like 20 years, maybe. I always thought it would be neat, like if a person asked if you won the lottery, what would you do? And I would make a company. Like, I would just literally sit all day making episodes like this and creating a huge archive with the idea that literally like 100 years later, all the company has to do is upload to the YouTube channel. Wouldn't that be nuts? Like, people would be like people would start covering it. Like, this guy, he's been uploading episodes for over 100 years. Is he dead by now? And they're like, yeah, I think he's dead by now. I mean, is he AI or something? I mean, he sounds like a real person. Because there'll probably come a time where AI is like too real. It's sounding too much like a normal person. Because real people, there are positives. There are people who have ums and ahs. But yeah. So, as you can see, there isn't a lot to commentate on. Like, you just grind. And actually, I know somebody can say, like, how? Like, is that why there isn't turn-based games anymore? It's kind of boring. No. Well, the problem is most companies have the marketing people take over the companies instead of like the engineers and the people who actually understand these projects. Steve Jobs, there's some interviews with him that are just like, he was like smart. He was a smart artist. He was truly an artist. He would flat out tell you that he worked for companies who literally, the reason why the companies went down is because they had just marketing and they were only interested in the current product. They didn't care about making new innovation. And they sat on innovations with but with this game, it's what I was about to explain is like, why did Final Fantasy turn away from turn-based combat? Is because these marketing people thought that those kinds of things were too slow. I mean, the current Final Fantasy came out. I mean, yeah, it's like a 100-hour game. For out loud, that's pretty huge. But then again, there's like hours and hours of cutscenes, so it's not like you're controlling any of that. It's a movie too, some autism and ADHD and stuff, but this game always kind of like it was very relaxing. That Ultima Exodus. I mean, that's another one. The only thing with that game. Oh, that's good. That's American. We love it. Fair not. We'll kick your butt again. But I lost my train of thought again. I saw a little pirate guy. Now we're fighting against the Shredders. I'm trying to avoid saying the name of the enemy because, if I'm going to reuse this, I don't want it to not match. I want it to match up. I want to try to do the best I can to not talk about the actual action. Because there'll be a point where I say, oh, well, there's a big elephant on the screen. And it's like, well, there isn't. Yeah, it's the commentary's old. Well, I'll see you next episode, and it's the end of the month, and be on our way to 2026. Good times. Great times. See ya.